Hey everybody, this is Tyler, aka GrandLethal16, coming at you with my post-KuroNekoCon commentary slash review slash giveaway. I really changed up the way that I review and look at KuroNekoCon and other conventions from here on. Just a review now more than commentary, but we'll still get into all that good stuff. And of course there'll be a giveaway. I'll detail it at the end. It will be for this Durarara sketch by, I forget the name of the artist, I'll include it in the description. But it has Simon and Mikado from Durarara, and it's autographed by Seitz and Darrel Guilbeau, respectively, the voice actors for both of those characters. So the title of this commentary slash review slash giveaway is The Children of the Sun Meet the Land of the Rising Sun. I think that's kind of interesting to mention because Spokane was the name of a Native American tribe, which means Children of the Sun. It was super sunny. It was in the 90s when I went out there. Great for cosplay. You don't have to worry about rain or anything ruining makeup or costumes or anything like that. And then you've got Land of the Rising Sun, which is the Chinese coin name for Japan. I just thought it was kind of funny that you had two very similar like monikers that are about the sun in a really sunny place. It really fit the mood. The weekend weather and venue were off the charts, as was staff. I'll talk about that a little later, but let's get into it. So KuroNekoCon, what did I like about it? I loved the weather. I loved the venue the most of anything. KuroNekoCon was in Spokane, so it's Eastern Washington. It doesn't get all the rain you get in Western Washington, general Pacific Northwest weather. That when I drove into town, it was 91 degrees. It was bright and sunny. People were out with their cosplays near the lake, and the venue was really great too. So that was one of the main things I liked was the venue. The sun was hot. I wasn't used to it, but it was still really appealing because it kept you awake. It made for great opportunities for photos, especially given that the convention center had great open walls of windows all over the place, so you could get really good pictures. You didn't have to go through a lot of post-prod, and that really just, it heightened the mood from, I mean, when you go to SoccerCon, it's a ton of fun, but there's a ton of people there, and it could be rainy and it could be cold. At KuroNekoCon, the weather's great. You get this diversity of people pulled from Idaho, from even Montana, from Washington, and even some people like KuroNekoCon and NewCon folks that are from Portland make the drive, so you get a really great mix of all these different people. Things I disliked, honestly, Spokane is really far away, so the thing that I really didn't like was that I had to drive 4.5 hours to get there. I wasn't sure I'd make it nonstop, but I did. But it was, I was in the best mood because I was super tired. Now, granted, I don't know if that's a bad thing. How organized was the event? The event was very organized. I requested press access back in January or February, I believe, and I didn't get a response back for a little while, but once I did, since they were going through new directors for all the departments, it was very consistent. The guy kept up with me. His name was Mark in marketing, and he was really good about answering any questions, always giving me information. There was great communication. It was pretty organized. I didn't download the guidebook app for them in advance, so I didn't really know just how organized they were, but they did have that available. It's one of the main things I look for when evaluating how organized an event is, because I want to see that they made the events available to people in advance so people can plan, especially if it's a, conventions are regional, so people are coming from all over the place. People want to know where the events are, so especially good for one-day attendees, things like that, just so they know what's going on, where they can meet their favorite guests, where they can do their fan panels. How friendly was the staff? How helpful were they? The staff was very helpful. This convention ties with NewCon in that when I went to a staff member and asked them a question, they literally could lead me to directly the person I was looking for. I talked to a random guy who was checking badges at the artist alley. He's able to take me to another person who could take me to the actual director, the person who leads the whole convention. You have one or two person handoff that gets you to exactly who you need to speak to. That's phenomenal. We never had walkie-talkies and ways of texting and messaging each other, but when there's accessibility to the resources and the people you need, that always goes a big way with me. All the staff members were super willing to help, to explain things, and that's a big thing. When it's a new convention for me, I'm a lot more dependent on staff members. It isn't like SakuraCon or Aki, something where I know my stuff and I can just walk around and it's all no big deal to me. How easy was it for me to get information prior to the event? I mean, it was pretty easy. Again, I was emailing back and forth with Mark in marketing. He brought me on hand with the guest relation professional. She helped facilitate getting interviews prepared in advance. I gave them copies of some interviews I'd done, transcriptions, and then the questions I'd be asking, and everything went really smooth. They gave me the final schedule the day of the con, which isn't a big deal to me. Would I have liked it a little sooner? Yes, but I can work with it. Yeah, and the site's really good. Like, I'm gonna be real. I was checking the site one more time before I started making this video. They already have announcements for guests next year. That's how good they are at updating the site as soon as people come up. Was the event the right length? Was it too short? Was it too long? Was it just the right size? That's an interesting question. KuroNekoCon is a 2-day convention. It's a Saturday, Sunday convention right now. While it may change in the future, I don't think it's changing next year. A weekend-only convention's great if you're a grown-up who has a job, who's like a part-time otaku or part-time nerd. Then it's really great. For me, since I had nothing but time around the time of the convention, it wasn't a big deal. I do like a 3-day convention because it gives you more time to do things, pick and choose what events, and you don't have to rush. You can rest, especially since I'm not used to that hot 90+ degree temperatures outside and all that sun. I know I'm too young to be saying that, but it really gets to me, all that heat. You better believe I had water bottles everywhere. I had like 6 water bottles filled, some were being refrigerated, frozen overnight. So my only issue with the length of the event is they only did autograph sessions on Sundays. I generally feel that a convention should have autograph sessions on 2 out of 3 days or 2 out of 2 days. Spread them out, even if they're shorter length for each respective voice actor, just so people who may not be able to go both days can still get that opportunity to get some of their games, manga, anime signed by some of their favorite people who worked on some of their favorite pieces of artwork. That's just a personal opinion though. I wasn't really upset about it. But again, I don't know how they go about doing things. So it's not a criticism, it's just something I noticed. Otherwise, the schedule is still packed. They did a 2-day, but it started Thursday nights or Friday night with like the pre-reg pickup and probably some events at a different venue. And then from bright and early on Saturday all the way until late on Sunday, they were doing stuff all the time. Since a convention center, I think they ended things at like 10 each night, but they went till 10. So they had like maybe 14 hours per day for 2 days, which still wasn't bad. They didn't go all throughout the night, if I remember correctly, but they kept it packed. Whereas most Sunday days of conventions end at like, say, 5 p.m. like SakuroCon, this one was going till 10 p.m. And that was cool. I mean, the ending ceremony still happened around dinner time, but then they just kept going for another 5 or 6 hours. Now, is there anything I would improve about the convention or anything I would change that I feel would draw out improvements? Well, yeah, I would suggest they move it to a 3-day convention. I'm going to mention this. I think they should really target just for attendance, even though they had great attendance. I think they should target some local universities, their anime and video game clubs, and do tie-ins with them. Maybe give them like, I don't know, a educational discount. I'm sure they are already, but if they're not, I think those are really cool. Because the only reason I knew about KuroNekoCon was from my anime club at my old university and because I saw a flyer at NewCon. But yeah, 3 days and then autograph sessions on multiple days. Even if they don't move to 3 days, I think autograph sessions should be over 2 days. So people who are forced to get a one-day pass for whatever reason, don't miss out on a cool opportunity to meet someone they've been a big fan of. Other than that, no, there isn't really anything that comes to mind. The convention was a ton of fun. Would I recommend the convention to a friend? I would if they fly. If they drive, I would say it's, let me put it this way, if I had to rate the convention, if you're driving from Western Washington, it gets like an 8.5 out of 10. If you take a flight, it's 9.5, 10. It's that good. I mean, I know I keep gushing about the venue at the beginning, but you'd have to see it. I didn't take much footage of the venue, but it was natural light up here, and I loved it because every picture I took looked awesome that was out there. Any footage I recorded looked great. It really boosts the mood. They have a fountain right outside where people were doing cosplay in the fountain. They have a perfect venue for scaling and getting bigger, which I love. They're right there an hour from Idaho, probably like an hour and a half from western Montana. If people from Portland are already coming over, they've got a great spot for drawing in all these fans from all these different states and schools. So I see a lot of potential there, and seeing an opportunity for a lot of anime fans to come together, video game fans, manga fans to come together and really celebrate something they enjoy is always neat. It's a great time for people to exchange ideas and just talk about a craft they're a big fan of. I love the venue. I know I keep gushing about it. Staff and venue were the 2 things that just blew it out of the park for me. And that's before we even talk about the awesome guests they had. So they had 3 guests that were voice actors, which are the ones I focus on. They had Darrel Guilbeau, Kristen McGuire, and they had Patrick Seitz. Now, yes, this is the 3rd time I've seen Patrick Seitz in the last 2 years of anime conventions around the Pacific Northwest. And then Kristen McGuire, I interviewed her and Darrel Guilbeau as well as John Wesley Go, a really cool voice actor from Eastern Washington region. Let's see, 2 interviews. Darrel Guilbeau, Kristen McGuire were day 1. They were Saturday. They were around dinner time or so, I think 4 or 5 o'clock. Those were a ton of fun. I actually haven't got those interviews up yet because I filmed them on 2 cameras, so it's kind of overwhelming. I'm working at it, but it's going to take a little bit of time. Darrel was super friendly. He was funny. Kristen knocked it out of the park. She was crazy. I mean, in the best possible sense of the word. her enthusiasm was comparable to Chuck Huber's. Like her energy, enthusiasm, just it was up here. It was insane. Like I had so much fun with her. Her stories about going to, I think it's Acon, Texas, were nuts. I can't wait to share some of that with you. I'm actually going to pick apart that interview and share pieces of it over Facebook and stuff because there's too much good stuff to just wait till the end. I did get some games autographed by them. Patrick Seitz I didn't manage to get an interview with. It fell through, which is too bad. But I did get to meet John Wesley Go. Again, he's a up-and-coming voice actor. He does some roles in visual novels, and he's moving into games and shows as well. So I'll share some info on all of them, of course, in the description below. And here are the games I got signed. So I already showed you the Durarara sketch. Darrel Guilbeau did the voice of Wilfred, the main character in Valkyrie Profile. So I'm trying to get that off. There we go. He also did the voice of Beautiful Joe in Marvel vs. Capcom. So you better believe I was on that life. Patrick Seitz does the voice of Hawk, one of the early bosses in Tales of Symphonia 2, Dawn of the New World. And Darrel Guilbeau does 3 voices in Radiata Stories. I got Chris McGuire to sign my booklet because I didn't have anything from, say, Prison School or Assassination Classroom, which is kind of funny. One of the things I've noticed, speaking of that, every time I interview voice actors at each respective convention, they tell me about some roles they've done or some of the games or shows they've been in. As soon as I hear about them, I find myself peeking into stuff I wouldn't usually watch. For example, Micah Solisud said, hey, if you like Fire Emblem, if you love JRPGs, check out Rage of Bahamut, or Heroic Legend of Arslan, I believe. I've watched all of Rage of Bahamut. I love it. I watched all of Heroic Legend of Arslan, and it's like Fire Emblem. It's literally like Fire Emblem in the Middle East. It's the coolest thing I've ever seen. And it's neat because every time, they give me recommendations and I watch them, I get to hear their voices and some of their favorite roles. And it's like one level beyond. So if you ever go to a convention and have a chance at a Q&A panel or something, or you get like an off-the-cuff moment to talk to a voice actor, ask them what role they'd suggest you watch that represents them or a really cool aspect of something you're a fan of, because it's an amazing experience. With Kristen McGuire, she suggested, she talked about Chio. She plays Chio in Prison School. I started watching it because of her recommendation, and she's amazing in it. Honestly, Prison School is phenomenal. It's a little bit, it's maybe NC-17, but it's so entertaining, and I loved how she told me about it, and then I went and checked it out. I actually have some Chio freestyle, so I'll throw that in the description below. Now I'm checking out John Wesley Go's body of work and some of the things he's done, like Lucid 9, where he plays Yahiko Ikari. So I'm looking at some of the stuff he's been working on as well. But there's a lot to be gained by just asking, hey, voice actors, what are some roles that you're really proud of that you suggest I check out? You want to see the things that they think represent them and connecting to their character the most. Of course, there's, again, this sketch I should talk more about that I'm giving away. Hopefully that's showing up this time. And so here's what's going to happen. If you are subscribed to the channel, you throw up a comment on this video, you're automatically entered. You can tag me and share this video, Twitter, on Facebook, or Instagram, and I'll give you an extra entry per one. So you can have up to 4 entries for this giveaway. This will be the item. Should have more giveaways in a couple months after AkiCon/KuroNekoCon, but for now, this is what I've got. I'm hoping there's a Durarara fan out there that really loves that. I'll see if I have anything else. If I do, I'll throw up a quick update on Instagram, or I'll throw up an update on Facebook saying if I have anything else to give away. But I didn't really have a lot of stuff handy at the time, so it kind of, yeah. That's about it. It's a great convention. I definitely recommend it to anyone if you can help it, until potentially they come to be a 3-day convention. I'd highly recommend flying out, because a 4.5-hour drive if you're in Seattle is kind of crazy. If you go a day in advance, I guess it's not a big deal. Weather, again, will re-energize you. But that's about all I've got for KuroNekoCon. So I'd love to hear from you. Of course, in the comments, I'd love to hear how you love this video. But really, if you went to KuroNekoCon, hey, give me a shout out. I'd love to hear about how your experience was, what your favorite part, maybe least favorite part was, what you'd like to see in the future, any crazy con experiences you had, which is a question I've started asking my guest interviewees because it's a fun one to ask. But yeah, hey, I'd love to hear about anything that happened to you if you went to KuroNekoCon, any questions you have about the con. If you went, I'd love to hear about, what you loved, what was your favorite experience, what was your crazy con experience that you may have had, anything like that. And then if you're a big Durarara fan, I'd love to hear about that as well, especially since I'm giving away this sketch. And then the interview should be out sometime next week. Now this free giveaway will be going till next week, Friday or Saturday, so it'll be out for a week. So I'm going to give everyone an opportunity to get in on it. Throw your questions down in the description. I'll be quick in replying to them. If you have any cool footage you took at KuroNekoCon, tag me in it on whatever social media you posted up in, or throw that in the comments. I'd love to see it as well. Finally, before I go, thank you so much to John Wesley Go, Darrel Guilbeau, Kristen McGuire. Hey, Patrick Seitz, was cool to see you as well. Thank you to the entire KuroNekoCon staff. Couple quick shout outs in there. Mark and marketing, and of course, Amelie and guest relations. Thank you so much for making this a great weekend experience for me. And I hope to see you guys next year. All right, thanks for watching. Bye-bye.